Hey guys, this is Navneet Singh Sandhu here from Metalhead Spotted, and today we are thrilled to have with us Dr. Hex from Albatross. Hi doctor, how are you?
Yay! I'm good. It's nice to chat with you. Finally, we have been speaking on Facebook for a while,
Yeah.
so pretty cool to chat with you.
First and foremost, how did you guys came across the band name? And is there any story behind it?
So the band, the idea of a band which does traditional and power metal,
Mm-hmm.
uh, like me and this fellow, back then he was just a friend of mine called Vipro, who's
Okay.
now the vocalist of the band. We
Oh.
had thought of creating a band which does like traditional heavy metal,
Yeah.
and work out because we couldn't like come up with a name.
Okay.
And I thought of like five names, and he thought of five names, and there was a stalemate, and no conclusion was reached. And then my brother, I think 1 year later, came up with this name, and
Mm-hmm.
I turned the tables. I called Vipro and told him that I'm starting a band called Albatross. Do you
Yeah.
think you can sing one song? And then Vipro was like, okay, chalo. And so that is how the band came about. The albatross is a seabird, and it is considered a symbol of bad luck.
Yeah, I've
Okay.
googled it once. I've seen that one. Okay, so what?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what led you guys to establish yourself as a metal band?
Uh, I like heavy metal. All of us like heavy metal, so I guess that was the reason. Uh, I have played in a few non-metal bands before
Okay.
this. I was in a band called Workshop,
Okay.
which is a humor, rock, slightly metalish kind of band. And I was
Okay.
in a band before that called Old Monks, which has traces of metal, but it is still more hard rock, glam rock per se, than it is metal.
Okay.
So, but my favorite bands were always slightly heavier than the styles that I was playing. So, I wanted to start, a metal band, and
Yeah.
that too a traditional metal band, because I mean I love the concept of growling, but I prefer singing in metal. I
Okay.
like melodies in metal, so I like understanding the words as uh, I hear them. So, and nobody at that point, at least in 2007 or 2008, there were very few bands doing
Mm-hmm.
this style of music. I don't think there was anybody
Yeah,
doing
yeah, you're right.
like heavy metal with clean vocals. So that was the basic this thing. I wanted a band with two lead guitarists
Okay.
also, which I don't think was the case back then with like any of the bands probably.
Okay.
So like that.
So would you like to tell me about the initial phase of Albatross?
Uh, Albertus actually started out as a solo project,
Okay.
and this was in 2007 or 2008. There's a chariot going with a MNS ka flag and stuff in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
So you might hear some Marathi songs. 1 second, let it pass. Okay, so it has passed. Okay, that was damn random. Sorry, but so it started out as a solo project of mine, and the idea back then was to get different musicians, different friends of mine, and the whole concept was I'll write lyrics and I'll write the basic blueprint of a song. I
Okay.
will present it to different musicians, and they'll come up with different ideas and all that. But there were two main problems with this whole setup. The first is that because it was my project,
Mm-hmm.
people weren't as interested. Except for Bipro, I don't think any of the other musicians were interested. And secondly, there going live would have been a problem. And like everybody was telling me, oh, you have something special going on, just go live. But then going live with so many 30, 40 musicians would have been a problem back then.
Yeah, yeah.
So back then, the guitarist of Workshop, Raj,
Mm.
he said that, oh, you have some cool stuff in Albatross. Why don't I come on board, and maybe we can do some kind of an EP?
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, yeah, sounds pretty fantastic, and that's how we got the whole band along. Our drummer Jay, I've known him for 10 years. He's like probably been my oldest. Like I've known Bipro for 20 years, but
Mm-hmm.
we were not until recently. But Jay has been like one of my closest friends for the last 10 years. So I asked him in 2007, do you want to play for Albatross? And he said no. So I was like, "Arey, baja na." He said, nahi bajarega. And then after I asked, I spoke to a lot of other drummers, but they were in a different headspace altogether.
Yeah.
And then I asked Jay again after 1 year that would you like to play for the band? So he said, "Acha, chal, dekhte hai." And and then he came on board. The new lineup is like there have been many lineups before we have arrived here, but I think it's been the longest lasting lineup so far. It's lasted over 2 years now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What inspires and influences you the most while making music?
I am a huge fan of lyrics. I do a lot of reading. Love fantasy. I love horror. I love science fiction. And so, I mean, even with my other band, Primitive, the
Yeah.
idea is I don't like the idea of, riffs coming before the music because
Yeah.
to me, riffs and music are a way of painting a mood of the words that I have written.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so in that sense, I mean, I am a writer by profession, and this is my favorite kind of writing. I love writing about monsters and about,
Yeah, yeah.
like gods and people getting massacred and people being eaten alive and all that.
Yeah.
So, uh, I love writing stories, and I can't do that in my day job.
Okay.
So this is, I mean, both Albatross and my other band Primitive are writing outlets like that.
Okay.
And my biggest inspiration like that would have to be this Danish band called King Diamond.
My friend was saying that these guys might be a big fan of King Diamond.
We are.
Yeah, yeah.
King Diamond is the only other. I mean, there are a lot of bands out there who write concept albums,
Hmm.
but the level that Albatross goes to, I mean, in describing the stories, like it almost becomes a narrative, so to speak. So if
Yeah.
you are reading the story, lyrics, you and listening to the music, you almost have. I mean, we try to paint a picture of. Or say create like a movie in your head with our
Yeah.
music. So I mean, King Diamond is probably the only other band doing something of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
There's also Alice Cooper who had
Alice
written
Cooper.
this album called "Welcome to Your Nightmare." So I mean, that, there are albums like that. Queensryche had written an album called Operation Mindcrime, which is
Mm-hmm.
almost based on the same principle that Albatross is. But essentially, it is. I mean, King Diamond is our biggest influence as such. Yeah.
Yeah.
Manila Road is another very big influence like that. But I mean, they don't write concept albums like we do.
Yeah.
But I mean, Mark Shelton's lyrics are like awesome. I don't think there's a better writer out there other than King Diamond, probably.
So how do you guys choose the lyrical themes? I mean, what is your approach towards writing?
It's been very different, like from EP to EP. So for our last EP, The Kissing Flies,
Yeah.
uh, what had happened is one of my biggest musical inspirations, another one of my favorite lyricists and vocalists, this guy called Phil Swanson, who sings for a lot of bands from the US.
Yeah.
He sings for Hour of 13 is his most popular band, I think. Then Vestal Claret and Britain Writes
Mm-hmm.
and Upwards of End Time. He's in a lot of bands like that. And I had linked him to Albatross on Facebook, and he was like, "Oh, do you want to do a split with Vestal Claret?" And like as a fan of his music, I was like, "Whoa, this is like a huge opportunity." So I had so I mean, and at that point in time, we were writing a full-length album with another story. So I had like very little time to like shelf that and come up with a new story and all that. So, like coming back to your question, what I did is I wrote an entire short story. I presented it to the band, divided
Mm-hmm.
it into three different parts, and hence we came up with an EP like that. So the story came first, then the lyrics, then the music. With Dinner Is You, I mean, I wrote most of the music, and Raj wrote say 40% of the music. So out there, I wrote a riff, and I thought of a story around the whole this thing. Our new album, which is going to be titled Fear from the Skies,
Okay.
is a lot more collaborative like that. So everybody comes in with ideas, and everybody has like different this thing. So for the first time, we are going to be releasing a full-length album. Obviously, it has it has three different parts.
Okay.
The first story has been written by me. The second story has been written by our drummer Jay, and the third story has been written by one of my favorite writers called Jeff Vandermeer. He's won like all the science fiction and fantasy awards out there, and he's
Mhm.
like a huge authority on the whole genre. And I had happened to link him to Albatross, and he had quite liked the music, and he was like, if you ever want to make a song out of any of my writings, just go ahead. And like, it's a huge honor for me, honestly. So it's going to be divided into three parts like that. But unlike the previous two EPs, it's not the story which came first. Like Nishit had, for example, Nishit is our guitarist, of course.
Mhm.
Nishit, he would come up with a riff idea, and he'd say, "ये सुन मैंने ये लिखा है," and Vignesh would come in with another riff idea,
Mhm.
and I like we the story came after the music in this particular case, and it's pretty much worked out fine. So it retains the same Albatross flavor, but the problem with Kissing Flies, in my opinion, is some of the songs, because of the nature of the story, had become too long. Like they were like 10 minutes and 11 minutes and everything.
Mhm.
So now the songs are more concise. They are more cohesive, so to speak,
Mhm.
and that's been our approach. So, to answer your question, I'm sorry I went off on all
No
different
issues.
tangents, but
Yeah.
to answer your questions, there is no formula as such. I mean, we do whatever comes naturally, and we all write music together. So, I mean, unlike most other bands in which like somebody writes music and I mean, then you email it to everybody and they
Mhm.
learn the song and come. We all come into a room, we jam, we write the song, and only then do we like play it live and
Implement it.
record.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, both of your EPs are concept based. Not many Indian bands have done this before. Any particular inspiration for doing so?
King Diamond.
Okay, okay. That comes under it.
uh, Basically that I love lyrics. I mean, one of the biggest reasons why I prefer non-growled vocals to growled vocals is I can understand the words,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I mean, lyrics are 50% of a song for me. So I love this, and plus it's a lot of fun doing stuff like that. I mean, it's an additional layer. So when somebody buys your CD, he or she puts it in,
Mhm.
they'll be like, "Oh, the music is quite great," but if I read if I read the booklet, then I get there's one more layer of entertainment, so to
Yeah, yeah.
speak. And I mean, I remember the first time I heard to King Diamond's album Abigail,
Mhm.
I was blown away. I was like, I can't. I mean, this is incredible. Like, I am hooked from one song to the next song, not only because the music is so good, but I can't wait to find out what happens to the main characters, Jonathan and Miriam, in the next song. So, and that is the case with every King Diamond album. I am entertained. I mean, it's almost like going to a horror movie and like discovering what happens next. It's pretty cool like that. So yeah, we rip off King Diamond a lot. Thankfully, the
Yeah.
music does not sound as much as it as inspired as it did during Dinner Is You.
Mhm.
So like Albatross, thankfully we have developed our own sound and we are not a King Diamond rip-off band anymore. So it's going to be sound slightly different.
Your lyrical theme suggests that you guys are very well read. Any author literature which inspires you particularly?
Um, I mean, I'm always reading. I read one book every 4 days.
Mhm.
So yeah, but to name some of my favorite writers, when I was younger, I used to read a lot of Stephen King, who's still probably my favorite writer. Then China Mieville is another writer who I really like. Jeff Vandermeer, obviously, we are going to be, and thankfully he likes the band as well. There is, I've been reading this new writer called Mark Lawrence a lot, and especially in my other band Primitive, uh, I mean a lot of his kind of writing is the thing, like you can see traces of his style of writing.
Mhm.
uh, the first part of the new album is very inspired by this writer called M. John Harrison, and I don't know if you've heard of a band from Bangalore called Gin and Miskatonic. Jay Prakash is the bassist of that band, and he's a fantastic writer himself. But he recommended M. John Harrison to me, and so M. John Harrison has this series called Viriconium, which
Okay.
is about I mean it's a world which is continuously changing, and there's been a nuclear holocaust. So man is rediscovering himself, and there are traces of ancient technology, and there are robots, and there are monsters and stuff like that. So the first part of our next album is very inspired by that. The second part of our new album, which is called Children of the Cloud, is I mean Jay thought of it, classic horror. It's not classic horror like that, but it's on the lines of a very 80s horror
Yeah,
movie
I was about to say that.
or something like that. So, I mean, I am probably the only person who reads regularly, but Bipro, Jay, and Vignesh, I mean, they watch movies very regularly.
Okay.
And I think Bipro and Jay particularly, they love horror movies.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are awesome. Like Albatross played alongside Accra, Wolf, and Mighty Creator, and you guys played with some of the best bands in India. How was the experience playing alongside with them?
Playing alongside Creator in particular was like unbelievable. I mean, when we got the call and we found out that we are sharing the stage with Creator, it was like I think that was the turning point for Albatross. I mean, there we were playing shows before that, but I mean from that point onwards we became a lot more successful. uh, we have been called to bigger shows and stuff after that. And I mean, I've been listening to Creator since 2005, 2006, I guess. And to be able to finally play with them was pretty insane. And I still think that, like, the Bangalore Open Air, the first year, if that's probably the best lineup we have ever been part of in any of the shows we have played, because I mean I liked every band on the bill and every band was pretty kick-ass. So I mean it was a lot of fun, man. It was quite unbelievable. Like we are backstage and
Yeah, yeah.
Creator is like just walking around, like
And you said about the
so just
backstage. How was the feeling behind that?
it was pretty great, man. Like I have been part of big shows with Workshop. Workshop was, but like Workshop never played one of these metal fests. So this was the first big metal fest that I was backstage at. So it was incredible, man. Like there was,
Dream come true.
and it was a dream come true in a lot of ways. I mean, I would say that we have played shows after that which have meant a little more to us in the sense that, say, the first time we went to Australia was pretty insane, and we shared the stage with a band called Wolf
Yeah, yeah.
after that. And like Wolf is another one of our biggest inspirations, and I mean that was pretty insane. But this was, so to speak, the turning point, and like I can't thank Salman enough for like giving us a slot there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's pretty cool, man. All the bands are pretty cool, man. It is probably one of the better shows that I've watched ever. So it, and the only bummer was Ice Earth was supposed to be a part of the show that year,
Yeah,
and I mean they had to back out at the last minute because something went wrong with the visas, I guess.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we were supposed to share the stage with Ice Earth again. like me and especially Wipro, we both love that band to death.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Indeed.
we were supposed to share the stage with them in this thing in Bangalore, and then again in Croatia. We had gotten a slot with them there, and in both cases, something went wrong. So I guess Albatross and Ice Earth are not meant to be on the same stage ever.
Yeah, maybe in future. Who knows?
Ah, who knows?
Yeah, like you recently came back from Himangas on Australian tour. How was the experience behind that?
It was great, man. It was probably, I mean, it was probably the best experience of my life, honestly. The fact is, Albatross is, how to exactly put it, when we are put in a lineup in Bombay or say in Bangalore, anywhere in the country, so to speak, we stand out because we don't sound like any of the bands. In India at least. I mean, I doubt there are any bands in India which sound remotely like us. So, I mean, I'm not saying that it's a good thing necessarily because there we are like a sore this thing. We are like the black sheep of the metal fraternity, like that. But out there, we were paired with a lot of melodic metal bands and a lot of traditional metal bands, thrash metal bands, like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it was a lot, even though none of the bands again sounded like Albatross, it was a lot closer to our genre, honestly. So, I mean, people who had come there, they were all dressed in denim jackets and like they had their arms folded and all that. And I was like, are they enjoying the music or are they not? This was in Melbourne initially.
Yeah.
And then when we finished our first songs, I mean, the applause was quite great. And Andy, I mean, our tour manager, he
Yeah.
told us later on that people had come up to him and they had asked him, where did you find these guys? So I was like, I hope that's a good thing. And he's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, they said it positively. That was pretty insane. It was like the best experience ever, man. And it was the first time we have ever gone on tour because while we go on tour, it is usually like one show every weekend. So here we have to play like three shows in three different cities on three consecutive days, which was very difficult, but it was like insane. I mean, that's what I would ideally like to do for the rest of my life. So, like, pretty cool, man. And like the appreciation was pretty great. There were some like really funny things which happened there. For example, like on the Australian tour, we finished the gig in Melbourne, and we are going to Sydney, and we are at Melbourne Airport, and suddenly like we see a lot of people arriving in Behemoth t-shirts.
Yeah.
Behemoth being the Polish Black Death band,
Yeah.
and we are like, oh, cool, Behemoth fans. And then we look closer, and it's Behemoth. Okay, so Behemoth is traveling with us on the same plane.
Wow, that might
So
be a great feeling to
yeah, yeah. I mean, that was pretty insane. You don't expect to run into Behemoth randomly in the middle of this thing. I knew they were playing in the same city, and one of the best things about the whole tour was that when we were playing in both Melbourne and Sydney, we had Behemoth and Limp Bizkit
you. Yeah.
play in different shows on the same day.
Wow.
But we still got like these were club shows, and we still got like 100 plus people. So I mean, that was pretty insane.
So, what are your future plans for 2014? Any international tours coming up?
No, man, we simply can't afford it because usually when you go abroad, you end up spending a lot more than you earn. So we cannot afford it right now unless like a mad offer comes along. We are speaking to some people in Singapore, so if Singapore might just happen in October or November, but I don't know. I mean, it's still like 30% confirmed and all that. We'll be playing a lot more shows in India. The big news this year is obviously that the new album is going to come out, and it sounds better than both the other albums. It sounds, I mean, how exactly do I put this? It sounds more structured, but at the same time, it's a lot. It's as mad as any Albatross song is, but it's a lot more structured. It's a lot more. We have found our footing, so to
Yeah.
speak. We are working on a DVD right now. I don't know when it will come out, but we are still working on it. So hopefully it will come out soon. And we are playing a lot of shows, man. So we'll be going to Varanasi in a few days.
Wow.
So
Holy
I think
city.
it's going to Holy City. Yeah, we'll play Holy Diver there. So Varanasi is going to be pretty insane. I never in my life would I could have imagined playing in Australia someday, but playing in Varanasi was like I mean it never crossed my mind, and it's like I mean even that is a dream come true in a lot of ways. Yeah, and then there is this show called Thrashfest which is happening in Bombay. We are part of, and I mean it has arguably like the best lineup we have like it's the best bill we have ever been put on. It's pretty insane.
Yeah.
So those are the two confirmed shows. We are going to another city in March and April. March or April, obviously, not twice. Uh, I cannot reveal the details yet, but we have never been there, and like we are very, very, very excited about it. It's in India, and quite kicked about it. So even last year, for that matter, we had gone to a lot of cities that we never thought we'd play at because we played in Surat.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I could be wrong, but I think we are the first metal band to have played in, the first outstation metal band, of course, to have played in Surat. And it was very interesting because those people, there was a handful of audience there who were like very excited because they are all metalheads and they are starved for metal. They don't get metal there. So they were like very kicked about the whole show. And we played in Goa. Again, I never thought we'd play in Goa. You don't associate Goa with metal again. So that
Yeah.
was pretty cool, man.
Yeah. Which one band would you like to share the stage with in future?
Ah, so many bands, man. Like there are so many Indian bands who we'd like to go on tour with. But I think if you ask us, I mean, I know for a fact that Demonic Resurrection will be coming up with an album. So I mean, if we can do a combined thing together, that'll be pretty cool. Then our friends from Australia, Lord, I mean Andy, the bassist of Lord, had got us down to Australia. So I think I'll have to return the favor and get them down to India. So that should happen. That should hopefully happen this year if everything works out. Uh, we are Wolf, of course. I mean, we all love Wolf. It'll be great to hopefully share the stage with them. Like all the bands I like, man. I cannot name any like okay off the top of my head. King Diamond, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Iced Earth, Manowar, Slow Effect, Manila Road, Celtic Frost. Celtic Frost does not exist anymore. So Triptychon, uh, Ghost.
Yeah.
Any of these bands, man. Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, Anthrax, Overkill, Testament. All these bands, and half a dozen Indian bands, man. Like it's a lot of fun to be part of different lineups, and we are on a label called Transcending Obscurity
Yeah.
now. So I mean, sharing the stage with any of those bands is a lot of fun. Cosmic Infusion is great. Orion, our guitarist, other band is great. I don't know, Gut Slit is pretty cool. Devoid is pretty cool. So any of those bands, man.
Now coming back to Thrash Fest, what fans can expect from Albatross this time? Any new composition, or you want to keep it a surprise until the gig day?
I'll tell you what, we wrote a song today,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I asked Vignesh and Nishit whether we'll be able to play this live at Thrashfest. So, I mean, I don't think it'll be ready by Varanasi, but by Thrashfest it should be ready. So, we will probably debut that song there. uh, or not. I'm not going to confirm this, but yeah, we're gonna cover a Megadeth song maybe, and we're gonna maybe cover. We were thinking of doing a Testament cover also, but then we decided that. Then I decided. I mean, everybody else is still pretty keen on covering Testament.
Yeah.
I decided that it's more important to write the new album than to learn new covers.
Okay, and then we might be the
So,
first one to get the news.
which the Megadeth cover?
Yeah, you
The
just told.
Megadeth cover is, I mean, I'll tell you right now, it's Tornado of Souls. Our guitarist, he's playing that song all the time, and so I mean, our guitarist Nishit, he's a huge Marty Friedman fan, and he's playing that song all the time. And the best way to keep him happy is to play that song. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to play, and hopefully we'll do justice to the song.
Like you just told that you're writing new song for that one, Trash Fest.
That we are writing new songs for the album, not for Thrashfest. I mean, it's part of the album. It might be played at Thrashfest and it might not. So all of that still hangs in the balance.
Lastly,
Uh-huh.
would you like to give any message to your fans and our readers?
Uh, I mean, thank you for supporting Albatross. Thank you. I mean, it's been a long journey. I mean, a really long one. But I mean, I'm very flattered by the fact that like you spend your hard-earned money on our CDs and our T-shirts. If you do, if you don't, then fuck off. But if you do, then I am very grateful to you. And I hope that our music has made your day a little more pleasant than it was. So thank you, and I hope you keep supporting our music. The new album is better than the older one, so do buy it. Buy the older ones also if you don't have it. Buy our t-shirts. Our caps are sold out, so you don't have to buy them.
Yeah.
But yeah, we need money to go abroad, buy more stuff.
Well, Dr. Hex, good luck for the Thrash Fest. We'll see you in the pit.
Ah, yes, and see you in the front row and the pit. You
Yeah,
will not
okay.
see me in the pit. I stay away from the pit, but I am old and I am grumpy, so I stay away from the pit. You'll probably see me near the bar. I'll probably hang out there. So
Okay,
yeah.
I'll see you there. Okay. Okay, well, thank you
Okay.
for your time.
Okay. It was nice chatting with you, man.